most of the time when I play MechWarrior Online, it tends to be in very large bursts. You know, I'll play, I don't know however many hours on one given day because I have plenty of free time on that particular day. And that might be the only day I have real free time that week, or maybe I'll have free time on a couple of different days. So, I try to squeeze in as many matches as I can all at once. And if you've played really any team game like this, you know that sometimes you just repeatedly draw the short end of the stick, or maybe you're just having a derpy day or something, and so you lose over and over. Some of it's going to be your own fault, some of it's going to be your team, because even if you were doing amazing, even if you were perfect, you still cannot solo carry a 12-man team. So, there's a certain level of skill that your team has to perform up to, and then the same for you. You have to do well also. And so I'd had one of those days so far where I just kept losing and kept losing. So I decided to put on my tryhard hat and break out a Marauder. They're not the best mechs that I have by any real stretch, but they're a chassis that, as I've said before, I really like, and they're solid performers. So generally, it's one that I like to break out whenever I'm just kind of having a hard time with the game. And I had done that, brought out the Marauder 2 or Marauder Bounty Hunter 2, just three lasers in each arms, and then a large shotgun in the right torso. And I want to point out quickly that I was asking this guy's build at a really horrible time. I didn't realize when I started typing that he was under missile fire, but oops. So sorry about that unconstructive waste of time, guy. It's just that when I see someone running an X5, I like to ask for their build because I love the X5 and I always want to, see if there's a really cool build that someone has come up with. Most of the time, they're really nothing that I would use, but someone out there has to have figured out something that I would like. But back to the Marauder. This particular one is a great combination because half a dozen medium lasers is usually enough to strip off armor from some component, or at least, do a large portion of the job. And then you follow it up with the shotgun to, start eating away at whatever was underneath that armor. And the autocannon is really high mounted, so it's very easy to shoot people with it. That's a recurring strong advantage of this particular chassis. But I abandoned this particular fight right here because either my positioning was bad or his aim was good, but he kept hitting the same two components, and so I decided to just move on, see what else I could find.
New target acquired.
And I look over here, I don't really see anything because this is sort of a short range build. It's not super short range, it's not like I'm brawling with SRMs, but I still kind of need to be, within like say 400 meters ish, just because the LB-20, pellets spread out a lot. So I couldn't find a fight over there, so I came back in this direction, and that first target was already dead by the time I got there, but thankfully there were plenty of enemies, right here. And at this point there were so many enemies I couldn't really decide which one I wanted to go for. I decided on going for that Phoenix Hawk though, just because I thought with him being a squishier target, it would be a quicker kill.
New target.
Unfortunately, he's also a faster moving target. But if you know what this mech and the Phoenix Hawk are based on, you know why I have to go for that Phoenix Hawk. It must be done. So I turn around, there's my buddy the Phoenix Hawk. I decide it's time to finish our ages-old battle. And he's legged, so he really has no choice. He's doing a decent job there of twisting, and I'm having to do the same. But he's just kind of SOL, and so I core him out. I overheat in the process, but it was okay. He didn't have any buddies that were anywhere nearby. So that was my first kill, and then I got lucky that Jester, or I think that's what it was just down to one shot, so I took him out.
Left arm critical damage.
And then I meet another Phoenix Hawk. It was fate. I was in my Zentradi mech, and I keep running into the Valkyries, so I have to fight them. This fight could have very easily gone his way, but again, that damage transference mechanic that I've mentioned before completely saves my life here. I'm, just hard torso twisting. I'm not giving up. I'm presenting him my side so that he's going to constantly put his fire into, my dead side, and I'll take reduced damage. And I knew I had friends that were right there by me. We, vastly outnumbered them by this point, so I figured that was my only shot at surviving. And I had to do this in Zentradi proud and take down my enemies and live to tell the tale. So thankfully I did. I even got the last shot on the guy. And at this point, I figured, okay, they've just got an AFK somewhere, so we'll just base cap. But then I see their AFK is actually moving, and so pretty soon, okay, kind of soon,
Enemy
maybe
base
soon.
is being captured.
At some point, there we go. I decide to go ahead and go after him. I was just like, you know what, screw it. I've done enough killing already. I don't care if I die at this point. I'm just gonna go tag that guy at least once.
100%.
And so, I take a couple shots at
Enemy
him.
base is being captured.
And then suddenly I don't feel so brave. I'm like, maybe I don't want to die. Let me just go ahead and hide behind this indestructible hill here until he turns the other way. So the match ends right here. Someone else gets the kill, which naturally, because I was hiding behind the freaking hill. So it was just a nice turnaround from what I'd been going through before, and just busting out one of my favorite mechs and just having some fun, getting some kills, and especially surviving the assault from those two Phoenix Hawks in a row, because they have some decent firepower and they could definitely take me down. But just a bit of smart play from me there in the end made sure that I got to live to enjoy my kills.